Hearing close in the forest you'll find a fabulous banquet, a fairy ball. If you close your eyes and you open your mind, the veil disappears and you'll see it all.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey, Reese, and
Grandma Reese.
And you guys have literally been asking me ever since you were first on my channel when you were gonna come back. They ask me like every single day, like, are you gonna do a video with Grams? We have so many questions. So finally today, Grams has agreed. Well, actually, this is the second time she's agreed, because last time we filmed, it was like the ghosts were going crazy behind her. It was so out of focus. But she has agreed to talk about a lot of the questions that you guys have been asking me to ask her, and just talk more about our haunted house and all of her paranormal experiences. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Do you have anything you want to say to them before we start?
I love you guys.
You read all their comments, right?
I do.
She goes through, sometimes she'll be like...
Somebody asked if I would adopt them, and I said, of course, your family.
She tells me all the time, they really are family. They're all my grandchildren. It's so sweet. But today, basically, the number one thing that everybody wants to ask you about is, one, the haunted house, but two, like, what was your first paranormal experience ever?
Well, when I was about, I think I was about 3 or 4, there was an angel standing at the foot of my bed. She was, I described her to my parents when I got up in the morning. She was all in white, and she had wings, and she was holding a red rose. She was beautiful. And I just got finished telling my parents, and they got a phone call that my grandfather died. So when we went to the funeral,
This is the craziest part.
he was laying in the casket with one red rose in his hand.
Isn't that unbelievable? I think that's so beautiful. So you definitely think that your first paranormal experience was with an angel?
Yes.
Do you feel like angels have kind of gravitated towards you throughout your life, or do you think it's just the paranormal in general?
Angels have definitely gravitated towards me. I know that we never went to church as young children.
Yeah.
But I always felt connected to God.
Have you had any other experiences with angels besides your first one and the time that Julia was born and they told you she was going to be okay? Have you had any other encounters where you think you encountered an angel? Or were those the two like main in this world ones?
I was at the mall one time, and this really old lady came up to me out of nowhere and asked me if I would drive her home.
Right.
And you know how they say that, I said of course, and I went way out of my way to drive her home. But there's a saying about
that God puts like angels in your path in disguise to see if you would treat no crying. Ace loves my grandma. He like wants her attention all the time. It's so sweet. I remember hearing once that God will put angels in disguise to test and see if, when you're being tested without recognizing, what would you do? Because obviously if a real angel came to us, we would all do what we thought was right. But
That's
what
right.
do you do day to day? So you think that that was maybe an angel?
I do. Never ever saw her again at the mall, and I used to be there all the time.
Wow.
But she was really old, and just out of the blue, she came over and asked if I'd give her a ride home. So, and of course, I would have done that anyway. But I do believe that might have been.
No, we can't squeak toys right now.
Aw, you're no fun.
Yeah, so you think that was the only other time that you've really, like, in this dimension experienced an angel besides with the...
In physical form.
So I had told in my Ouija board gone wrong video the story of you and Grandpa where the Ouija board essentially scared Grandpa because it knew... can you just tell them the story?
I can. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and I were in the kitchen, and we were playing with the Ouija board. I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I never had bad experiences with it.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you think, just not to interrupt you, but out of curiosity, I've always like warned against the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Just because, especially if you're not in control of your vibrations,
Yes,
if you're not in
absolutely.
control of what's surrounding you, you could definitely contact something evil. And I have mentioned that you could contact great things, but that one time that the wrong thing comes through is terrifying.
Yes.
So do you think that the reason that you've only had positive experiences with the Ouija board is because you have such a white light about you and you are such a positive and high vibrational being?
Very spiritual, yes.
Yeah, okay. So go ahead and tell the story.
Okay, so the Ouija board said it was Barry's uncle. So we're playing it and we're, you know, laughing and all this stuff, and Barry came in from outside and he was always making fun of things like that. And he says, okay, if you're so smart, how many screws do I have in my pocket? It told him exactly how many screws were in his pocket. Totally freaked him out. And then it was time to drive his mother and his sister home.
Yeah.
So when we went to say goodbye, the Ouija board said, Barry, go, Candy, stay.
Did he get just so freaked out?
Oh, he got really freaked out. He made me get the kids up out of bed and go with him. He wasn't leaving me alone with that.
The kids were sleeping and he made you wake them up and he's like, no, Candy's not staying. That is so incredible.
I know.
That's crazy.
But you know, he had a lot of intuition too.
I was just gonna say, like, my grandpa, he never really talked too much about it. He never, like, said anything against it. He just, like, we would talk about fairies in the garden and this and that, and he would play along with the kids and giggle about it, but he never really was like, yeah, there's fairies in the garden. Like, sometimes I wondered if he thought that we were a little woo-hoo.
I don't think so. I know that the time he was coming to pick me up in Barrie,
Yeah.
I was down there with the kids visiting my family, and he was supposed to bring your mother
Yeah.
and Andrew.
Right.
That's my grandchild. Yeah, your mother was pregnant with you.
Yeah.
And just as he was getting ready to leave, he turned to your mother and said, you can't come.
Yeah.
And he left the two of them back there and went himself.
Yeah.
Well, he hydroplaned on the 401
Wow.
and totally demolished the whole passenger side of the car.
So Mom would have died, and I would have died, and Andrew, who knows what side he would have been sitting on.
That's right.
Wow. And he knew, like, he just had a feeling.
He had a feeling, and like me, he always went with his feelings.
Yeah. Can you tell him the story, just because I told it briefly, but it always sounds nicer coming from you, about when Grandpa was about to pass away and he floated through the floors?
Okay, well, it was before he passed away. He had the surgery to remove the 2 cancers.
Yeah.
And when I went in to see him when he was in recovery, he was trying to tell me something, and it took him over half an hour to say it because he kept choking up.
Like crying?
Trying not to cry.
Oh.
And he said he was laying in the bed and he started to float up. And he went through this floor, he went through this floor, and he knew exactly how many floors of the hospital.
We're from the operating room?
Yeah. And then he said he went through the roof and he floated right up into the universe. Then he said there was a big, huge white light surrounding him. And he was in there for a while, and then he floated back down. And when he got back to the bed, he was afraid to open his eyes because he thought he had died.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was a year before he passed away, and I think he made an agreement, just like I did a couple of weeks ago.
Basically, my grandma believes, and my grandpa believed, that he had went up and God had granted him an extra year or some extra time to be with his family and to be with all of us because he wasn't ready to go yet. But here's where it gets crazy. I forgot about this. Oh, thank goodness we refilmed.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have told this story. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna preface this by saying, my mom calls me one morning and says, did you hear what happened to Grandma? And I'm like, what do you mean what happened to Grandma? Like, I thought something physically happened to you. And she's like, Grandma almost died. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I hung up the phone and I called you. And when you told me this story, you guys, I had goosebumps. I had chills. Tell them the story. Tell them the story.
For about, I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks, I was starting to feel really super drained. I'm in a lot of pain all the time.
She struggles with, sorry, I just don't want them to make their own assumptions as to why. She struggles really badly with really bad arthritis, and she also has an aneurysm in her stomach. And so it makes her feel really bloated and swollen, and sometimes her stomach gets really bad indigestion and her muscles hurt.
And my back is out.
Yeah, so like she'll deal with...
That's what happens when you're a little person. You always overdo everything just to prove that you can.
I know, and now I don't live with you to reach the high up things.
I know.
So you have to climb up on the chairs.
On the counter.
When I lived with her, she loved it because she used to climb on the counters, but then she would just ask me because I'm so tall. But so she goes through these spans where she's in a lot of pain. But this span, she said she felt very weak as well.
Yes, I did. And I went to lay down, and I always check the time when I lay down because I set my phone for like an hour or whatever. I went to lay down, and I laid down, And I could literally feel every drop of energy just draining out of me.
Yeah.
And then the wall on the bedroom turned into a huge white door, and the door opened and it was just nothing but a bright white light. And a voice said to me, you can come through, no, it said come through and you'll feel no more pain or loneliness. And if you stay, then you're gonna have to live with it. So immediately I said, I'm not ready, no, I'm not ready. And just then, there's a loud knock on my door.
Yeah, this is where it's crazy.
Door. Yeah. So I got up, and I'd only been in the bed less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I got up, opened the door, and there was no one there. There was no one in the house but me.
Nobody was home. So it's like that knock was bringing you back to the physical realm, to reality. Like, that gives me chills. Like,
I know.
It's, so someone who was very spiritual once told me that we are granted 3 paths in our lives where we can choose to stay or we can choose to go. And some people leave the earth on their first of the 3, some people make it to the 3rd. And this spiritual person told me that one of my 3 was my lung. And that if I had given into the weakness, if I had given in, I would have died. And I knew that because the doctor said that, but to hear it was crazy. That was probably one of your 3, where it's like, we're gonna give you the opportunity to not give up, but to come into no pain, back to grandpa, all of that, and you chose to stay. Thank goodness. I would have been so sad. That would be so unexpected.
I know.
Like, I would not have seen that coming.
No.
That's wild.
But definitely, like, it wasn't even, I know it wasn't a dream because it wasn't even 10 minutes. In fact, less than that. And there was no one in the house, and that was a loud knock.
Yeah. That's crazy. But also, the house that she lives in, I lived with her before I moved into my condo. So there's a lot of, like, spirits in that house. Not even anything negative, but there's a lot of activity that goes on in that house. It's so funny how, like, vacant this condo is. I need content. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of the really sweet energies in that house was, like, bringing you back to reality. So do you feel as though God was giving you another chance, or do you think he was also showing you that you could leave at any time and so to appreciate each day? Like, what's the lesson or the overall message
I feel that he was telling me I just have to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
You know.
And that when it's over, you're not going to live with pain forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what we go through here in this physical dimension isn't forever. Our soul's eternal. So he's probably was reminding you that, like, yeah, there's a struggle now in this life, but when you come back, there's no pain, there's no loneliness, there's no suffering. Which
that door was the size of the whole wall.
Wow.
It was a huge white door.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, and it was just as clear as could be.
It's so, like, reassuring to know that the white light exists. And, like,
yes.
to go into it, like, I don't know, I just think that's so unbelievable, but, like, we believe in the unbelievable.
Sure do.
So who was your favorite spirit in the haunted house?
I like the grumpy old man in the basement.
We didn't like him very much.
I know, but he kept us under control.
Yeah, like, anytime, I was scared to go in the laundry room. I remember one time, I never even told this before, or maybe I did, we were throwing, like, tennis balls, like, rolling them in, like, these little balls, I don't even know if they're tennis balls, and they would, like, roll back out. And then we would roll it back in, and it would roll back out. And it was because it didn't want us to come in the flipping laundry room. And I remember Brandon would say, throw it in and get it lodged and then go in after it. Because, like, he saw the grumpy old man more than any of us.
Yeah, because he would go in the laundry room, and it was kind of, we had tools and stuff in there.
Yeah, it was dangerous. But he would, like, he saw it more often, so he wanted us all to be as scared as him. And he would say, get the ball lodged and go in after it. But the ball would always roll back out. And I was like, I'm not going in.
Because the laundry room runs this way into the...
Oh, the little drainage thing in case it were to flood. Mm-hmm. That is strange. Yeah. Now that I think about it, that's way more paranormal than I even thought. Cheers. Yeah, I think my favorite was the woman in white, for sure.
And your children that you were teaching.
Yeah, they were troublemakers. It's so funny because people probably think we're so crazy. They're probably like, oh, Hailey comes from a family of crazy.
Yeah, she does.
But why do you think that there were so many mythical creatures as well as spirits and angels? Do you think it was due to the vortex, or due to that it was such a high energy spot, maybe they were just attracted to the area?
The vortex could have had something to do with it, but I truly believe it was just that we were open, and willing, and
we weren't, like, closed-minded. We were very... So that leads me into a question that I get asked all the time, and I know you're excited to answer this because we've talked about it before, and that is, do you think that our ancestors were involved in any sort of magic or any sort of like practice in that sense, and that's why we're so receptive and open to everything?
Yes.
She's been wanting to tell you guys this for the longest time, so take it away.
My grandmother was Native Indian. She was from the Micmac tribe. And if you look in the Canadian Encyclopedia, it's on Google, Canadian Encyclopedia, and read up on the Micmacs, you will discover that they were sorcerers and sorceresses. And that's what they were known for.
What kind of sorcery did they do?
The women were mostly healers.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And the men were like, they used it for hunting or for war.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy because people will say, oh, any magic is of the devil. But the problem, or the blessing, but also the problem with magic is there's no good magic and there's no bad magic.
No,
there's just simply magic. And it's in the hands of the beholder how they choose to use it. So like I find, like, I really believe in like the magic of healing and the magic of therapeutic touch and the magic of like, you know, just auras and all of that. Like I believe in that. So the fact you say that they were healers, like I could see that being passed down, because
it was
my grandma used to do, not that she used to, but now she's in a lot of pain, so you have to be really like not in pain, but it's not good, I don't think, to do therapeutic touch when you're in pain. Because you might accidentally have put it on someone else. Yeah. But she used to do therapeutic touch, which was where she could feel with her hands heat source from where the pain was.
Without touching.
Yeah, like this, like far, and be able to pull out like any of the pain. And you taught me to do it, and I actually got really, really, really good at it.
And it can heal.
Yeah, and it heals. And like there are people across the world who will even try to heal terminal illnesses using
nurses. A lot of nurses do it.
Yeah, and so I think that you probably got that gift and that drive to do that probably from our ancestors. And I've always felt like the urge to heal people. So I have like 2 more questions for you. The first one is, which of any of your grandchildren or children do you think was the most afraid of an experience in the haunted house?
Definitely Brandon.
Yeah, that's my cousin. Which is funny because he's the son of the uncle who doesn't believe in the unbelievable.
Yes.
So it's funny because his own son was experiencing all of these things. Yeah. He was really scared of the man in the laundry room.
Oh yeah.
He would run up those stairs and like fall to the floor and like take 10 minutes to catch his breath, but he never learned his lesson. He kept going in the laundry room. So of course the man's getting angrier. Did you ever think that I was afraid, or did you think that I was just...
You were never afraid.
I would talk with them.
Yeah, you were totally comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But then I've always been comfortable with it too.
Yeah, it's true. The only real scary ones were like the protective ones that would yell, you know, but a lot of the times it seemed as though they were protective of the house, they were protective of, you know, the children or whatever. They just get really, really angry. A lot of my scary paranormal experiences actually happened in the house that I moved into after you, besides the thing that I would see on the wall. We'll get into that in a whole other story. So the final question I want to conclude on is what people ask me to ask you a lot, and that is, how do they protect themselves and not be afraid of dark, evil entities?
I've always projected light, love, like Hailey says. You project love around you in the white light, and you're totally protected.
Yeah. If you ask your angels for guidance, and people will say that angels are evil because anything, not angels are evil, but anything that you're contacting that isn't God is not of God and is evil. But God sent angels to watch over us. God sent us guardian angels. Archangel Michael is a really great angel to call upon if you need protection. Raphael, yeah. There are a lot of archangels that you can call upon for protection if you feel afraid in the moment or you feel scared. But no matter what, light will always overcome any darkness. Right, Casey?
Yes, it will.
Well, you guys, that is basically it for today's video. I tried to cover all of the different stories that you guys wanted to hear her tell or the questions that you wanted me to ask her. But if you want a part 3, you know what to do. Drop a comment down below, let us know, and also leave some comments for Grams because she reads them all and it means so much to her when she sees how much you guys love her. So please do that, and that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I post a ton of videos, so I don't want you to miss when I upload. And please give this video a big thumbs up for Grams, because we love her. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, We love you.